Hey there, welcome back to another video. My name's Bruce, and in this one, I'm gonna show you how to restore an axe, like this one. This is the final video in a series I did with Roy over at Vintage Axe Works. If you've not checked out those other videos, I've got links to them down in the description below, so go check those out. In this video, we're gonna show all about restoring an axe, from the wood selection to how you wanna fit the head, using the draw knife, all of that stuff. So let's restore an axe. Like I mentioned, this is the final video in a series I did with Roy from Vintage Axe Works. He invited me up, he does tons of stuff with axes. We've done 2 other videos on my channel, so I'll have links to those below. One of them was about determining if you have an axe that's worth anything, and the other one is about how to sharpen an axe. Definitely go check those videos out, and go give Roy a follow over on Instagram.
Not even close. All right, so if you're gonna remove a head, there's several different ways to do it, but the fastest and easiest way that I have really discovered is using an old saw that you don't care about, a hammer. This is actually an old spanner wrench that I cut and just made 2 flat drifts, and I have no idea what this is or was.
Just use it like a punch.
Just use it like a punch.
Boom.
Just like that. Come back to your vise. You may have to drill this eye material out, just depending on how much is in there. Just like that.
We did this process in a little bit of a backwards order. Because of a misunderstanding between Roy and I, we actually did the video on sharpening this blade before we did the restore, and that can be a little bit dangerous because then you've got this sharp blade. But we threw some duct tape on it and went to work. Just like with a lot of woodworking, Roy has tons of jigs that he relies on. Once he gets the shape of a handle that he really likes, he makes a template out of it, and he has dozens of these. Depending on what the customer is demanding, and once he determines how long the handle actually needs to be, he just goes over, finds the correct template, and starts cutting at the bandsaw. Roy is staying close to his lines here, but he's not being too fussy with it because this is definitely not the final shape. It's all a little bit fluid when he goes to start shaping it in the next step. Here, he's just marking center on his workpiece so that he can know the correct amount of material to remove from each side. Then he has this very ingenious pencil that he has sharpened to about 4 inches long of the point so that he can get down in the eye of the axe head and mark where that needs to be. Then it was off to the draw knife to shape the handle, after a little bit of tune-up, of course.
On this, so we've already drawn the eye on there.
Mm-hmm.
So the draw knife has 2 edges, front side and the back side.
Correct.
So the front side is
Roughing.
for roughing. And really what you want to do to be able to maximize your pull is to do 45s on every angle. So I'm going to start here, and I'll do this, and then I'll come over here, and then wherever that lies, then I'm going to 45 that, and then turn it over and start smoothing everything out.
I know there's some explaining that he's doing, but it's important because he's very good with a draw knife, and I just wanted you to see exactly how he goes about this before you see how awesome this is.
Okay. And you can kind of like, so you can see it's
Where it
deep
flips
there.
it.
So you kind of rock it like so. So within a matter of no time, we're already down.
Yeah. Okay. Now, I've used a draw knife plenty, but we just spent a lot of time picking out this piece of wood and shaping it, and I didn't want to mess it up, so I'm going very easy here. Then you say 45 here,
Well, I would
but I'm getting too far.
Right. So you're also just always mindful of this shape right there.
Okay. So then you would go here again?
I wouldn't.
No?
I would just try to, because this is where the majority of the material is coming off because it tapers down.
Right.
So just more right there.
Okay.
So now it's time to switch over. So this is just, I mean, you can take teeny tiny little shavings off
Right.
that back side. You kind of got a scoop right there.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to come up here,
Just level that out.
just have a nice transition taper.
Okay.
Same with this here.
Is it like an actual scraper?
Yep.
Yeah.
So then I always come up here. If you look down here, like we're real wonky on our line.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to come over here.
And just even it up.
Yeah. Ain't got to be perfect.
So that when you look down, it's pretty equal on either side.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Then I'm going to 45 these just to round over.
And you did all of that with the refining side.
Yeah. Now I'm going to scrape it. So if you feel this right there, feel how
Mm-hmm.
rough that is, then I'll.
No sharp edges.
So same as on the back side, this is kind of wonky over here, so I'm going to just come over here and just sight that down. And you really want to be careful here because if you take too much off of here, you know that gap that you saw at the front of yours,
That's what it'll do.
that's what it's from. So we're a little tight. Just like that, we're already started.
Nice.
Now I'm trying to shake a little more. Moving through. See, the line right there was soft.
So you
Now.
can see where it's grabbing. Yep. You're about halfway. Not
I
quite.
call this my star gauge. Right there. So that action is just like a cross cut, just to so that that chip doesn't keep curling up to the top. Because I'm good on my top. I
Right.
just want to end it right there.
Okay.
So another misconception about this is that you have to do like full pulls and you have to use the entire cutting edge. Well, if you just saw how I did that, I just continually rolled this knife to follow the contour. little gap right there. So we just need to taper that more.
I'm going to speed some of this part up because it's more of just the same. Putting the axe head on there, seeing where it hits, taking just a little bit off and retrying. You just do this over and over, but be sure not to take too much off because obviously you can't put it back on.
So there you go.
That looks good. For me, that's like a hatchet.
Of course it is. Giant of a man. If you're choosing wood for an axe, you want straight parallel grain with the cutting edge as close as possible. So if you look at the end grain here, we're kind of at an angle, but it's not so far off that it's terrible. And the shorter the handle, the less that matters. But truthfully, the more important thing is called grain runout. So if you look here at this grain is running the entire length of the handle, where grain runout would start here and actually run out of the wood. Where that grain runs out of the handle, it's really, really weak right there. So more likely for it to fail.
As far as, you know, style of that, what is style and what needs to be there for strength of actually swinging it or any of that kind of stuff?
You want to match the handle length to the head so that it's a nice balance as much as possible. So what we're working on today is a little boy's axe. So this is about 2 1/4 to 2.5 pounds. And anything smaller than a 20-inch handle would just kind of be silly. Anything bigger than a 28-inch handle would also be kind of silly. So between 20 and 28 inches, so you can use it with one hand, two-handed, and there's a nice balance and feel to it. That's what you're really going for.
Does that serve a purpose other than
Yeah.
it looks cool?
So it does look cool, but it gives you, if for some reason this axe ever got loose, you could unseat this head, drill out the wedge that we're going to put in there, and that it gives you room to go down onto this shoulder where you still have some adjustment. So if this axe should ever come loose, this isn't a one and done handle. You could salvage another hang out of it.
And the rest of the, you know, most of the strength is really then coming from the grain, and the rest of like the shape and the curve and everything is more just about comfort.
Yeah, absolutely. And so stylistically, it's very comfortable to hold on to. It has this nice lever action. It's just, and you can get these in straight handles. You can get them in a curve handle. You can get them in a French curve, octagonal. So all sorts of user preferences at this point. Yep, so we're gonna take it to the back of the shop, put it on the 2x72 grinder, get a nice rough shape, and then we're going to profile that out with some hand sanding and some other sanding techniques to really dial in the look and the feel of what we're going for.
Awesome, let's do it. Literally just a few minutes on the grinder and Roy had this thing totally shaped and ready for a little bit of hand sanding. Then we went back over to the bandsaw and cut it down the middle so that we could have a spot for the wedge. For whatever reason, I don't have the footage of us putting that wedge in, but here you can see Roy's oiling it up. That wedge just looks fantastic. We went with walnut for the wedge, and I do not regret the walnut with the hickory. We decided to go with a 20-inch design on the handle for this one, and I left that up to Roy. I asked him what he would do because it had a little bit longer handle on it, but I'm glad we did it. It has a really nice balanced feel to this axe now, and I just love the way it looks and feels. I love that we were able to leave some of those marks in the back of it where it had been struck over the years of taking use, just to pay homage to the past and where it has come from. You can see just how good the fitment is all around the eye of the head on top and bottom. There are no gaps, everything fits just perfectly. Roy is just meticulous with those details and it really shows in the end product. Well, that's it for this video. Thanks so much for watching. I really like how this axe turned out, and I'm just really pleased to have been able to go and learn stuff from Roy. Hopefully you learned something too. If there was something you learned that you didn't know previously, leave it down in the comment below. Thank you again for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. That's it. Nailed it.